drop and two, and then we're trying to battle back on a fourth down. We get a penalty, so we took ourselves out of drives, and in that way, Brett takes a sack on a second long, puts us in a third and 20, 22 or whatever it was. So just some big errors that really cost us along the way, that held us from scoring more points. And then again, we gotta focus on the red zone and finish drives.
When you study the fourth downs, has there been a theme at all this year? Is there something that
the theme is we're not very good at it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, particular things that you guys struggle in those situations, or?
I think every game is different, and looking at those fourth downs, in this game, obviously it was two completely different situations. One quarterback sneak that we didn't do a very good job on, at the quarterback position, and then the fourth down at the end of the game, you're battling at that point, So each game's different. It happened to be that we haven't been very successful this year on those.
Probably getting a push on the fourth and one.
Yeah, we took the wrong gap. He's got to analyze the front a little better.
When you looked at Fresno State, they're coming in, their defense was certainly a huge reason that they were in this position. What did you see from them that now that you were able to see them up close that maybe stood out to you?
Yeah, they fly around. They're physical, and they're confident, and they play mad, and they do a good job up front. They got a little pressure on Brett and hit him a few times, and they're good in the run game. That's really where we ended up seeing it big time, is some free hitters, and we missed on some things that you're in a first down run situation and you take a loss. That's tough. And you're trying to battle back and you're behind the chains a little bit, but. So we got to handle their defensive line a little bit better, and but again, that's part of where we're at now too, with feeling them out and having a better idea of what we're facing, going in, and they're going to have the same advantage on their side of things too. So
I know on one hand it may not be convenient to play somebody back-to-back weeks, but given the way round one went, is there an eagerness to have another shot?
Definitely. Yeah, our guys are hungry. So, and we are as coaches too. So we got a great chip on our shoulder, and you look at it as positively as possible, and you got to take it as motivation going into this next game. And we're right where we're going to be either way, But this gives us a little extra motivation to going into this game being a little pissed off and having a chip, So. Our guys will be ready.
In the first half, Alexander didn't get a ton of work. Was that, you mentioned didn't have very many possessions, but was that by design? I mean, it seems like he still ended up getting a decent amount in the second half, but still fairly fresh.
Yeah, a little bit by design. And some were called runs that end up, Brett's throwing to the edge, on some of our bubble screen stuff. That so they're, as far as the touches go, you're calling a few more runs than actually show up on paper. But in any game, we want to get Alex the ball and get him touches, and because he's a good player. So we got to be mindful of where the ball's going and who's getting the touches, and get him going. So, and there was early on there was a few early runs too that got stuffed, and we made adjustments and may or may not have come back to some of those runs. And, we just got to do a better job up front early on.
You talk so much about Jake and what he means to this team. To not have him in that game and obviously not know his status for this week. What does that do to the offense? How hard is that to not have him out there?
It's always tough when you're losing playmakers, but our guys are ready to step up. We've got good depth, and guys are hungry, especially at this point of the year. You don't look at you look at the guys on your team at this point of the year as all being experienced. They've all got reps. They've all got a ton of practice reps, and guys should be hungry to step up, and it doesn't matter who goes down. That's part of, November football. It's part of championship football, and next guy up. And obviously you miss a guy like Jake Rowe in the offense, but you find other ways, and we need to do that going into the next game.
Zach,
Last
the last few weeks, the defense has done a much better job following up Montel in the quarterback run game. You see any difference they're doing and the way they're approaching it, or why that's been more effective, I guess, than it was earlier in the season?
You know, it's the more you use it, the more they're going to get used to it. You know, and you know, you're trying to design things that give guys different opportunities. You know, and whether it's, you know, with Montel, whether it's the run game or the pass game, I mean, he can do both. You know, so it just ended up, you know, where we were in some situations where, you know, they did a good job of bottling them up and got them for a loss on that one, you know, going into the end zone. So, you know, when they work, they're good. When they don't, they don't. You know, you don't like it. So, but Montel's a good football player, you know, and we're going to find different ways to get him the ball.
Exactly.
Did Alex get a bad spot on that third down right before you guys went for it on fourth?
We thought.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, guys.
What's up, guys?
We were up for this one.
I thought you got the first.
Questions for Andy?
Well, Andy, we just heard about Gabe, and you know, I mean, we'd asked you before he even got hurt about the injuries and that linebacker. You guys have just been tested like crazy there. What's that been like? And I guess also, you know, what does his loss mean for the defense?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, Gabe's been awesome this year, and what he's been able to do on the field, but really as a leader too, and helping out with some of the young guys and things like that. So just kind of a weird deal the way it happened too, but Gabe will be fine, and guys will step up, and we'll be able to adjust and use some personnel as we have in the past this season, you know, over there on the field side, and it'll be, you know, get Gabe all healed up today and get him moving forward from here, and obviously we got to have some guys step up.
Well, then maybe he's in the mix then, and that's why I know Desmond's been able to play over there, I guess, even.
Yeah,
All
we've
you
used numerous outside linebackers to the field this year, just depending on the personnel sets we're getting and you know, what personnel's on the field and things like that. So we could, you know, we got to be able to match the personnel going on the field, so we'll be able to have the ability to do that still.
With the back-to-back games, I got to think, you know, it'll be a temptation for your guys to be like, I just saw this last week.
Right.
I know what they're doing, and I'm sure on the other side to be like, show you that and go do something else.
Right.
So what's your message to your guys this week about sort of how to use that information from last week, but probably not get caught overthinking it a little bit? Yeah,
no question. I mean, at the end of the day, we've got to be able to get lined up and execute our assignments. And for the most part, we got off to a little bit of a slow start in the game last week, and then we got rolling pretty well and played pretty well for 2 quarters. And we didn't finish the way we would like to finish, but we've got to be better down the stretch. We've got to be better more consistently throughout the game. In terms of getting aligned and seeing our keys and executing our techniques, we've got to eliminate some of these explosive plays.
I know you thought their quarterback was good coming in, but
Yeah.
seeing what he was able to do, you know, needing to extend plays he could, and then,
Yeah.
you know, with the arm on that, especially that 81-yarder, you know, just dropping it in there. What did you see from him, maybe in person?
Yeah, so exactly like you said, I mean, he's able to do it on the ground, and he's definitely capable of doing it in the air, and he's got a good wide receiver core, and he made some plays on Saturday. So we've got to do a better job playing with leverage and situations and executing techniques. They've got some talented wide receivers, and in order to combat that, we got to be able to execute. Otherwise, you know, we're going to have the issues we had.
That 81-yarder, you got, you know, offense had just scored to cut it to 2, and
Mhm.
looked like momentum was starting to switch, and I think that was first play. What you know, what happened on that play, and how tough was that right there?
Yeah, so we were in a post defense, and you know, we didn't hold the post, and it went past us. I mean, wide receiver got behind us, and the quarterback made a hell of a throw. So we just got to do a better job to execute, man, and really that's what it comes down to.
You know, it seems like Fresno State's so good at, you know, when you guys were winning a lot of games, Boise State, you guys' offense always just kind of stayed on track, and it seems like they did such a good job at limiting negative plays. And you guys didn't have a sack on Saturday, and you only had 1 tackle for loss. So, how important is it to maybe kind of create some of those try?
Yeah, I felt like we were able to create pressure on the quarterback. We got numerous hits. We didn't get, you know, sack wise. We didn't get home there, but we got numerous hits on the quarterback. We did a pretty solid job in the run against the run game. But yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, we got those negative yardage plays are momentum. Get the offense behind the sticks. And we got to do a better job of getting those, to get them behind the chains.
With their offensive line, I know we talked about that a little bit, but they've only given up, I think, 7 sacks all year, and you guys weren't able to get one against them. What makes them so tough, and how do you feel like you were able to handle them on Saturday?
I think that the quarterback does a really good job with, it all starts with the quarterback, and he does a good job of getting rid of that ball. There were a few times that he threw it away and didn't take the sack, which is really, it's good for them because, like I said, it eliminates 6 negative yardage plays for them. So I think it starts with the quarterback, and I think their center does a really good job of communicating and handling the things up front for their offensive line.
What is kind of the buzz like? I know they're off today, but just the they say championship week every week, and now kind of is championship week, and having a chance to win a championship, and the fact that you guys are probably always mad when you lose, but the fact that you're playing that same team again right away, what is kind of the feeling like this week?
Yeah, it's a unique situation altogether, and it's every week you try to learn and move forward, learn from the good, learn from the bad, and that's what we know. We got to stay consistent, and any week we talk about winning each day. And we felt like we had a pretty good week of prep last week. We got to do an even better job this week. And obviously there's a lot of on the line, but you don't change what you do. You don't change who you are. You don't jump in the phone booth and try to put a cape on. You just prepare yourself really well and go out there and execute and do what you're capable of doing. You don't try to do too much because then that can have an adverse effect as well.
Using the slow start, I think that's 5 times in the last 8 games. You guys giving up a touchdown in the opening drive. Is it execution? Is it energy? Where do you see it not working out?
Well, it's probably throughout those different games, and maybe a combination when you put it all together. But most of the time, it just comes down to execution. We had our opportunities to make plays on that first drive. We missed a few tackles. We did not execute a few coverage assignments that would have definitely got us off the field on 3rd downs. And so we just got to do a better job of executing to start the game. Be quicker with the start. Be quicker. We talk about all the time, and communication gets you in a rhythm. And being able to, like I said, see our keys and be able to react and play fast from the get start. We've got to be able to do it.
We haven't asked you about it lately. We had a lot early in the year with Leighton, and I know this week all conference awards are coming out, and he's up for Defensive Player of the Year. He might have a good shot at it. What has impressed you then about what he's been able to do now he's looked at the whole course of the season?
Just extremely consistent. Been very productive for us. Even last week, he did a lot of different things on the field. You look at his stat line, it doesn't always tell the story. He did a lot of different things on the field that helped us. He provided pressure on the quarterback. He made a ton of plays in the run game. Did a good job in coverage, and so that's kind of who he's been all year. He's been pretty steady, and it's just being a consistent person for him is who he is, and what you put into it and how you operate is typically what you get out of it. And he's been fortunate to have a pretty good year, a really good year.
When was your aha moment when you said, this guy, our guy that could be our top linebacker, is already on our roster? When was that, say, this kid's pretty special?
It was pretty early on, just because his athleticism and his length, but really seeing him probably his, I guess what it would have been last year, his sophomore year, against Oregon State. He had a tremendous game. He had a tremendous game against a Pac-12 team as a sophomore, and you could see it there. You could see it at practice. You see it behind the scenes and stuff. But when he played well in that game last year, we had a pretty good idea, that what he was capable of being. And even since then, he's developed mentally and physically so much more. He's made a huge jump this year. He's made a huge jump since fall camp. In how he prepares and his knowledge of the game and what he does, and hopefully we can continue to make those strides as we go down the stretch.
I know he's only a junior, but do you think Layton's going to be an NFL guy?
I think when that time comes, I think he'll have his opportunities. He's pretty talented player, and he's got a great work ethic. And he's one of the better things you can say about him. He's a really good teammate. He's a really good teammate. So. We'd hope that a lot of our players get that opportunity. We know that that's not going to be the case, but hopefully he can continue to develop physically and mentally and have an opportunity to do that.
With Keikoa, I know that he might have been involved in the play of that 81-yard touchdown last week, but I mean, overall, how impressive has he been? Playing he's a true sophomore. That
Right.
He's closing in on 100 tackles for the season. So
Yep. Yeah, no question. He's been pretty productive for us this year, and true sophomore. He jumped right into the fire last year and has been rolling since. And he's a guy that has a lot of responsibility on his plate. He has to handle a lot of the communication in the secondary and the adjustments and things like that. And just being consistent with that stuff is, when he's been able to do that, we've been pretty successful in the secondary. And he's made his fair share of plays this year, and whether it be in the run game and or the pass game, he's done a good job.